All right, fifth graders, you are on lesson 4.4 because either you just completed lesson 4.1 and you're doing all your must-dos, or maybe you just got done with 4.3 or 4.4 or 4.2, I don't know. But you're ready, you're here. This is a green lesson, not just because of the green pages, but because it's a must-do on my playlist board. And this is the solvent share, so let's get started. It says a car travels 1 1/1500 kilometers in 1 minute. If it travels at a constant speed, how far will it travel in 3 minutes? In 5 minutes, okay? So I'm going to underline the question. How far will it travel in 3 minutes? Question mark. In 5 minutes? Question mark. And then I reread it to understand what I'm doing. So a car travels 1.15 kilometers in 1 minute. All right, so 1.15 in 1 minute. And I guess I could say times 1 minute equals 1.15 kilometers. Now, if it travels at a constant speed, how far will it travel in 3? How far will it travel in 5? So I can do 1 1/1500 times 3. 1 1/1500 times 5. All right. When you don't know the answer, you can use an equation with a variable. So maybe I'll just say K for kilometers, or D for distance. I like that better because K is really km for kilometers. Let's put D for distance. All right, so it says solve this problem any way you choose. And then Jada here, she says you can connect what you know about whole number multiplication to multiplying a decimal by a whole number. So hopefully this isn't completely new to you, and I did preview this with you in class. But we are going to use what we know about whole number multiplication this entire chapter because it is basically the same exact thing, except for now you have to figure out what to do with your decimal point. So I'm going to go 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, and then 3 times 1 is 3. So 115 times 3 is 345. However, this is 1/100th the size of 115, so my answer also has to be 1/100th the size. Something I told you in class, like I said, hopefully, is if you have 2 numbers behind your decimal in your factors, then you also have to have 2 behind your number in your decimal, but the 100th place is another way to look at it. My answer will be in the 100th place. Okay, so let's try that again. 115 times 5 is the same thing as 1 1/1500 times 5. So I just go through and multiply like I know how. So 5 times 5 is 25, carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 5 times 1 is 5. But because there are 2 numbers behind the decimal in my problem, I need to have 2 numbers behind the decimal in my product. And this is kind of like the trick way of knowing where to put your decimal. You could also use number sense to place your decimal. You could use properties of multiplication and knowing what you know, expanded form and pulling these values out. But at the end of the day, this is the trick that works every single time. 2 numbers in the problem, 2 numbers in your answer. All right. How could addition be used to answer the same questions above? So multiplication is just repeated addition. So I could do 1 1/1500 plus 1 1/1500 plus 1 1/1500. I could add those up. So we're looking back at old skills because that is 3 minutes. Or I could do 1 1/1500, 1 1/1500, 1 1/1500, 1 1/1500, 1 1/1500, and add those up for 5 minutes. I guess that's all I have to say about this one. If I was to sprinkle in some estimation, this would be about 3 times 1 is 3, and 5 times 1 is 5, so our answers are reasonable. But yeah, in lesson 4-4, you're learning about how to multiply decimals. I know that was only one problem, but we will continue on and talk about different ways to multiply. And I would highly suggest doing this guided practice video with me, so I will post a 3rd video for this lesson that shows me going through this. All right, see you soon.